One-point perspective is used when I'm looking flat at the back of a wall. So there's something called the picture plane, and if you imagine in front of you your camera or a sheet of glass, then if you push that sheet of glass up to the back wall, then you use 1 point if it hits the wall flat. If it hits the corner of the room, then you draw something in 2 point, or if you hit the corner of a desk, then it would be drawn in 2-point perspective. To begin a 2-point perspective drawing of a room, I imagine the back corner. So I come about 1/3 of the way down my page and I make a line 3 or 4 inches long. I'm going to imagine that that's the 8-foot corner of the room. So this is going to be my 8 foot here. Therefore, I know if this is 0, I have 4 feet here, 6 feet here, 2 feet here. 5 feet's going to be between 4 and 6. So I'm going to take that 5-foot level. I'm going to draw it to the right and the left across my page. This is my horizon line, or my eye level. It's up 5 foot high again, just like it was in the 1 point. All right, so the eye is the person. If the person were standing right here in the corner, their head would be here and their feet would be right here. But I'm going to bring my station point out here, so the head will be here and the feet will be out here, or maybe even way beyond my paper. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the very left side of my page as far as I can go. I'm going to put a little mark on the horizon line, and that's going to be my left vanishing point. Then I'm going to go to the right side of my paper. I'm going to put a little mark on the right, and that's going to be my right vanishing point. So in 1-point perspective, we had 3 dimensions: height, width, and depth. Height was vertical, width was horizontal, depth was vanishing point. In 2-point perspective, we still have height, width, and depth. Height is still vertical. Width and depth, however, go to vanishing point right and vanishing point left, respectively. All right? So in order to create the room, I take from my 0 and I draw a line to my right vanishing point, very lightly. And I go from my 8 and I draw a line to my right vanishing point. And then I draw from my 0 and my 8 to my left vanishing point. Now I want to continue these lines in that same trajectory. So I'm going to imagine this line keeps coming out at that angle until it hits the edge of the paper. So it's going to be about right there. Give yourself something to aim to. Put your pencil here and your eye here, so your line will be nice and straight. Neither one of those really hit. Let's give it a third go. This direction, I want to come out this way. Looks like it's going to come out to right about here. And I want to continue this line out till it hits the edge of the paper, and this line as well. So now this is the corner of my room. This is my ceiling. This is my floor. This is my right wall, and this is my left wall. This is the line where the ceiling hits the wall, and this is the line where the wall hits the floor. If I want to draw a box in this room out here on the floor, then I'm going to start by drawing the corner of the box that the picture plane would hit, the one closest to me. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put a line up and down here. Then I'm going to go from the top of the line to the right vanishing point, and from the bottom of the line to the right vanishing point. Then I'm going to turn my paper and I'm going to go from the top and bottom of the line to the left vanishing point. Then I'm going to come back here in the room a little ways, and I'm going to decide what looks like the size of the box that I want. We'll measure it later, but for now we're just going to make a box. So let's make another vertical line that's parallel to that one. Somewhat arbitrary, that's fine. I'm going to draw the top and the bottom in. So this is the right side of the box. To come over here to the left, I'm going to make another line. I'm going to create the left side of the box. Now I've got some more points, right? So here I have 3 dimensions. I have height and width and depth, and here I have height and width and depth, but here I only have height and width, let's say. This vanishing point right and vanishing point left are interchangeable, by the way. I'm not going to say that this is going to be width and that's going to be depth. We just want to have 3 dimensions, okay? So let's come to this corner first, because that'll be kind of obvious to us. Here we have something going to right vanishing point. We have something going vertical, right? So we need something to go to left vanishing point. So I'm going to come from here and I'm going to head up towards vanishing point left. Again, putting my pencil here and my eye up here on the vanishing point. That's going to get me height, width, and depth on that corner. Now if I come to this corner and I have height and left vanishing point, then I need to go off to the right vanishing point. That's going to give me this back corner of the box, so now I can see the top of my box, and I've drawn a 3/4 view of that box in perspective. Just to be clear, isometric perspective is not what we're working with here. Notice that this line here is shorter than this line here. And again, if I measure with my pencil and pinch the pencil right here and bring it up here, see how that's shorter down to that line? Okay, so isometric perspective basically is a symbol of perspective. So it would say this goes off at 45 degrees and this goes off at 45 degrees and this goes straight up and down and this goes off at 45 degrees left and this goes 45 degrees left and this goes straight up and down. This then goes off at 45 degrees to the right and this goes off at 45 degrees to the left, and you get something that looks like this. The problem with isometric perspective is that these lines, all 3 of these lines, are not going to meet. So as these go off in the distance to the right, they're never going to meet. They're actually parallel on the page, not parallel like these lines are parallel. So one of the rules of our perspective is that all parallel lines go to the same vanishing point, right? Or up and down. So in this, we're also doing a symbol because we have vertical lines, we're drawing them all straight up and down. But when you're in a room, it doesn't really vary that much. You'll notice this when you take a picture of something, that you'll start to get a 3-point perspective, which is actually a true perspective. And then these also should be converging down towards the bottom as well. So when I take a photograph with my camera, sometimes I'll see like a vase or something sitting on a table and it'll look like it's leaning if it's on the outside edges of the camera. So you get a 3-point perspective. That's actually the way the camera sees. We're keeping our verticals true according to the edge of the paper all the time. We're drawing in 2-point perspective. All right, this, if we wanted to find where this was hitting the floor, then we'd take this point, we'd say there's only height and left vanishing point, so we'd want to go off towards right vanishing point. This would come off towards left vanishing point, and perspective sort of double checks itself. If this comes straight down and it doesn't hit the corner there, then you're off somewhere in your box, right? So again, I might tap these with a kneaded eraser or kind of do this so I've got dashes in there so I can clearly tell what I'm seeing and what I'm not seeing. But it is important to draw through things. It's important to know where this is going to sit and where this edge is, because if I were to draw, say, a vase or a cylinder sitting up in front of it, if I drew a cylinder right here and I went and overlapped this box with a cylinder, notice how the cylinder is sharing space with the box. That's impossible. Right? So this cylinder would have to come out and sit in front of the box so that when I drew the cylinder out here, it would look realistically like it would actually be able to sit next to that box in the room. Okay? For this week, we're just working with boxes. I'll take that cylinder out of there so we don't get confused. But let's say there's a box sitting over here in the corner. Remember the cabinet we talked about that was 6 feet high? Let's say that it's sitting on this side of the room. And we make a line over here then, right? Sitting in that corner. When we come out of the room, we don't come horizontal. We don't get any horizontal here because we're in 2-point. All right, so we're going to come away from the left vanishing point. So if it starts right here, we're going to draw a line towards the left vanishing point and then away from left vanishing point into the room. Some people say they get confused when there's a lot of lines coming across here and they don't know which one is theirs. Well, the good thing about that is that you know you can't cross those lines. So if I start drawing a line out into the room and it goes across it, or I start drawing a line out this way and it crosses a line, then I'm like, whoa, that's not adhering to the same vanishing point as the line I drew that to. All right, so that's going to be one edge. This, let's say, is another edge. I'm going to come out from the left vanishing point through there and into the room. Then I need to decide how deep it's going to be. So I'm going to say it's going to be about this deep here. Put my pencil here, my eye on the right vanishing point, and go off towards the right vanishing point. So now I've made the footprint, or the floor, right, where that box is going to sit. My next step would be height, because I've got right vanishing point, left vanishing point. I need to go vertical. So I'm going to shoot up from these four corners. And I only put a mark. I do one thing at a time when I'm drawing, all right? So I'm a bear of little brain, I say sometimes, and I like to think through one thing at a time, right? So I put my pencil down, then I decide which direction it's going, and then I decide how far it's going to go, right? So here I've put my pencil down. I say it's going to go up. These are just notations to say I'm going up next. And then I have to decide how far. Well, I said it was 6 feet. So I want you to take a line from right vanishing point. This wall relates to the right vanishing point. How do I know? If I go to the floor and the ceiling relate to the right vanishing point, right? So every parallel line on this wall is going to relate to the right vanishing point. So I'm going to take 6. I'm going to go towards the right vanishing point and away from the right vanishing point, out into the room this way. So I'm going to say this right here is a 6-foot line, and I'm going to bring this up to my 6 feet on the wall, and I'm going to bring this up to the 6 feet on the wall. I'm going to come up this one. How far? I don't know yet, right? Because I've gone up the wall, I've got height, but here I only have height. Do I have a right vanishing point or a left vanishing point? Yes, I have right vanishing point. So now I need to do a left vanishing point. So I'm going to go from left vanishing point through there, out this direction. And that's where this is going to meet, out here. Now, how do I know what I'm doing here? I double check. If the line on the floor is going to left vanishing point, then the line at the top goes to the left vanishing point. So notice here, both of these lines are parallel. They both go to left vanishing point, as does this one, right? So I might say, well, the third line is this one over here. I need to come out from left vanishing point off of that and come out here a little ways, right? And then this will meet that if I go straight up and down. These two lines here should meet on their way to right vanishing point, right? So now I have a box drawn in the back of the room. And if you're confused, then you can lighten those up. I'm going to do dashed lines here. So I'm not actually seeing these invisible lines inside. I want to kind of lighten them up so that you can see clearly this box here. And then this is the inside of the box. If I wanted to float a box up above my eye level in this room, again, I'd create a line just like I did down here. Then I'd go down towards the right vanishing point and down towards the right vanishing point here. And I'd go down towards the left vanishing point and down towards left vanishing point. I'd create the edges of the box like so. I'm not going to use that whole line. I'm going to go from here. Now I've got left vanishing point and vertical, so I need to go right vanishing point from there, and I need to go left vanishing point from there. And that's going to create right here a box that's floating up in this room. So these lines can't cross that line. Notice how I'm getting here and I'm like, wait, that's a little sketchy. It looks like I take this line's pointing too sharply down. Looks like it's going to hit my horizon line in here, and it needs to hit my horizon line over here. So I'm checking myself against that as I do this. I'm like, wait, there's something up with my perspective. That's the line of the ceiling inside the box. I'd have these lines here.